of what it's intended to do. But I've never seen anything in here that is an actual principle of liberty, meaning it like the absence of restraint.
Right. There's at least one in the Declaration of Independence which completely contradicts the entire Constitution. The idea that people are equals and have unalienable rights. All completely rules out government. If we're created equal, how did some of us get above equal, more equal than others?
Well, you see, now you're getting hateful again.
Sorry.
And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, you hateful, fear-mongering you. Because Mexicans, unless you're born here, you have no rights.
Right. That was in the fine print.
Yeah.
The Declaration of Independence.
Well,
all men who were born in these colonies.
All white men who were born here.
All white slave owners.
Yes, all white. Well, no.
Are created.
Kurt, you're being a little cynical now, Kurt. It's not all white owners.
Plantation owners.
All white property owners. Come on.
A few of them didn't know.
If we're going to be fear-mongering and hate-mongering, let's get it right. All white male property owners. You didn't have to be a slave owner if you lived in, you could live in New York or New Hampshire. Come on.
Okay.
These Ohioans, boy. But, obviously,
Ohio.
Obviously, they didn't believe, most of them didn't believe this because, and this is a very sore point with Republicans and whatnot, because they claim, the Declaration, it says all men are created equal. Then why in the world would I need your permission, not you, Kurt, but why would I need permission to cross, to go from the land called Mexico into the United States? Why?
Right.
All men are created. And now you've got this thing, wait! Men were created equal and had certain inalienable rights. I thought they had a right to be treated fairly. You tell me they don't? And let's get one thing perfectly clear that everyone can say to their Republican friends, or they want to call these radio show hosts. This is, okay, when you talk about the Fifth Amendment, that is not something that's, grammatically speaking and legally speaking, no one has a Fifth Amendment right. The Fifth Amendment is imposed on the government that they're not legally able to compel anyone to testify against themselves. So whether they were born in Pakistan or not, the government has no authority to compel anyone to be a witness against themselves. End of discussion. So it's not that you have to be a citizen in order for the government to not compel you. Oh, that'll drive your Republican friends crazy.
Right.
Oh, boy, this idea that's embodied in the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, that's not in practice, because if it was, like Larkin, you said, it invalidates the entire concept of government.
Right. You have all men are created equal, and Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. Wait.
Right.
How did you get from one to the other? I don't have the power to lay and collect taxes. Where'd they get it? I thought we were equal a second ago.
Well, and you did a very neat video that I want you to talk a bit about on YouTube about being able to rob others.
I was actually going to mention that before. It's called I'm Allowed to Rob You. If you go to youtube.com/Larken Rose, and I was going to mention that earlier when we were talking about how people disassociate and have fits when you point out the violence of the state, because what that video is about, the conclusion is basically, I don't have the right to rob you, no matter what a piece of paper says, nor do the people calling themselves Congress. And it's funny, if you look at the comments, and there's lots of comments back and forth and arguing, I know when we were talking about, if you don't like it, get out. So my message to the viewer is, nobody has the right to rob you. The video wasn't about me getting robbed. It was nobody has the right to rob you. And they tell me, if you don't like it, get out. I said, wait a minute. It was you I was trying to defend. I said, you. Nobody has the right to rob you, and they still have fits. If you don't like it, get out. If you don't like me getting robbed, get out of my country. It's utterly insane. When you point out to them that that government shouldn't be doing it to you, they even respond, they get mad at the person telling them you shouldn't be robbed.
Right.
The government shouldn't be robbing you, and they go, get out.
Yeah,
I don't like you saying that. I don't like you telling me I should be free or something.
It's amazing. They'll turn around. Republicans will say people they have to follow the law. They can't come in here illegally from Mexico. They've got to they can't just do it by force. When I'm like, wait a minute. And if you want to lose Republican friends on Facebook, just put in there that, hey, do you know what Arizona was called prior to like 1850? Oh yeah, Mexico. Gee, can't understand why there's Mexicans here. And how did the United States government acquire? Oh, by force. So if you believe in the law of conquest, and you've got you shouldn't have any problem. It should go both ways. But then we're talking hate now.
Right.
And it's amazing how you can point out, and I think it was Harriet Tubman, and this goes right to what you were just talking about, Larkin. Just to paraphrase, she says, I could have freed a lot more slaves if I could have convinced them they were slaves.
Yep.
What you mentioned there about the Mexicans in Arizona and everything just kind of reminded me of that thing that was going on with the kids that were wearing U.S. flags on Cinco de Mayo or something and all of that. And the first thing I thought is like, well, here's just another distraction, to keep people from, focusing on the fact that they're being robbed. And the next thing I thought was, hey, no gang colors on school grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, very good point.
That brings up a thing I was going to say before. One of my pet peeves is the use of the word intolerant, which it's the most mangled term imaginable. Almost everybody is intolerant of me because they all advocate that my money be taken from me and spent on things that they want that I don't. Tolerating something isn't liking it or condoning it. It's letting it exist. Like if I tolerate you, it doesn't mean I do anything other than I don't come over and shoot you or chase you away with a gun. Tolerating means you allow it to exist. Nobody who believes in the state tolerates people keeping their own money or making their own life decisions. Nobody. And yet, if you turn around and say, I don't like the fact that you advocate socialism, they call that intolerance. It's so backwards and stupid. They advocate violence against everybody, which is, by definition, intolerance. And then if you point out, hey, you're advocating violence against me, you're just intolerant of my beliefs. Well, yet your beliefs are, let's go steal from him. I'm not too keen on that belief, but I didn't shoot you for having that belief. I just pointed out it was wrong. You, on the other hand, advocate that they use violence to take my property. That is intolerance. But just the language just gets turned completely upside down from the delusion of government and authority that violence is good and happy and compassion, and hooray for Obama, he cares about us. You can tell by all the thugs with guns he has working for him. But if you say, hey, I don't like the fact that he robs people, you're intolerant and hateful and you must be a racist and a few other, it's so stupid. People they can't think. They can't even talk. They can't speak in words that mean what they think.
Yeah, it's when, an analogy to that, to give a historical example, that you have people like the Puritans who, the history is recorded that they left Europe because they were fleeing religious persecution, right?
Right.
Oh, who did the Salem witch trials?
Right.
What the? Give me. So this is kind of the same thing. They turn it around. It's not that Republicans and Democrats oppose this. Have a difference of principle. It's how that principle is used that they have the problem. It's just like going to a so-called Democrat who says that they're pro-choice. And you look at them and you want to smack them and say, you're not pro-choice. What the hell's wrong with you? Can I opt out of Social Security? No. Oh. Okay. Well, can my wife? She's a woman. Can't she choose what she can and cannot do with her own body, like participating in in this Ponzi scheme? No. So, but they'll turn around and say that we're not compassionate and that we're intolerant, just like you're saying. Well, how could you not want to support the poor? Well, maybe we support the poor through our church, where 99% or more of the money that is given to the church actually goes to the poor. instead of some scumbag politician.
Yeah, and then the other thing that you mentioned with the like the pro-choice thing is like people who want to focus on the abortion issue. You know, a Democrat will be like pro-choice, which to a Republican looks like pro-abortion. You know, and then they go, well, how can you be pro-abortion and anti-war? And on the other hand,